Shalom Israel, giving no praise to Yahweh. Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim B'chakadash, the Mohana said that was the GMS for Wu outside teach to argument out there pushing his word, truth and sincerity, risking your freedom and your life to do so. We back with another video, man. This is from breakingdefense.com. You know, a lot of things are heating up, a lot of prophecies are kicking off. This has become real, and this is more real than what people like to believe, man. The time of Jacob's trouble and the time of the Lord's return is right upon us. So we're going to get this article, and we can get a few scriptures concerning prophecy. This is breakingdefense.com. As Russia moves to decapitate Ukrainian government, Biden announces new troops to Europe. All right, and this was February 24th, 2022, which was 2 days ago. And it says, black smoke rises from a military airport in Chuguyev near Kharkiv on February 24, 2022. It says, Washington, after a U.S. official warned that Russia plans to decapitate Ukraine's existing government, U.S. President Joe Biden today pledged to increase troops in NATO territory and announced a series of coordinated sanctions against Moscow. Now, if you don't know anything about sanctions is like war moves, okay? It's like playing chess and war. Sanctions is when you cut off, certain things. So if you have a deal with gas, you would cut off gas supply or things like that. So matter of fact, we could just look up the definition. Look it up. Penalty or authorization, sanction, a threat and penalty for disobeying a law or rule, official permission or approval for an action. All right, so it's a threat, it's a penalty of disobeying a law. So I guess what Russia's doing when it attacked Ukraine was violating international law, which America violates all the time. But we know that, America is the hammer of the earth and wants to keep a foot on everybody's neck. But Russia is a power just like America is, okay? Now, why does this pertain to prophecy? We're going to get that in a few. It says sanctions against Moscow. In announcing the sanctions, Biden stated that Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences. As part of an afternoon speech, Biden stated that additional U.S. troops were deployed to Germany as part of NATO's response force. This will enable NATO's high readiness forces to deploy when and where they're needed to protect our NATO allies on the eastern boundaries of Europe, Biden said. Those forces will include approximately 7,000 troops comprising an armored brigade combat team and associated capabilities. A senior defense official stated they were deployed to Germany in the coming days. Right, so we know that... Hold on, Salakia. Let's get this first. Because people are under the assumption that we're in a time of mirth, we're in a time of peace. But, the scriptures clearly tell you what time we're living in. So this is Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 2. So there's a time for everything in heaven and on earth. You see, like it's always saying, when you're joking around and in a serious matter, what do your parents used to say? Boy, stop it. It's a time and place for everything. So that's exactly what Ecclesiastes says. It's a time and place for everything. So verse 2, it says a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up, which is planting, a time to kill and a time to heal. Right, so the scriptures say there's a time to kill. So you over something worshiping the devil because you kill somebody? No. See, it's a difference between killing and murdering. If somebody breaks into your house and you shoot them, you killed them. Okay, it wasn't a murder, it wasn't intentional. You didn't see it coming, and it was self-defense. You see, so you were in the right, but the person that barged in your door was in the wrong, therefore you defended yourself, and it reached this fatality. So according to the scriptures, it was a time for that, you see. It says, verse 3 again, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, A time to weep and a time to laugh. Yeah, there's also a time to cry. Right now is a time to cry. Okay, because things are real bad. Okay, and it's gonna get worse. So right now is a time to cry and a time to weep. And a lot of people are crying right now, man. Gas prices are up. You see, prison cells are opening up. People are getting forced to get the juice. All right. A lot of people are sick and dying off. Right now is a time to weep and a time to laugh. The time to laugh is in the coming days, man, when the kingdom is established, when the righteousness bear authority. That's going to be a time to laugh. Right. A time to mourn and a time to dance. Right now it's a time of mourning. At least if you're wise. As the scriptures say, the heart of the wise are in the house of mourning. Because you know what's going on. You see? Verse 5. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. And right now we're in a time of refraining to embrace, okay? The Lord is about to shut things down. So right now we're coming in a time to refrain from embracing, okay? Of accepting people, okay? To understanding things are bloody, dangerous, and it's only going to get worse. Verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose. Yep, right now we're in a time to lose. Okay, all that you have, get not attached to it because at any moment you could lose it. A time to keep and a time to cast away, right? So we're spiritually casting away this world because right now we're in a time and we're closest. You know, Russia moves on Ukraine was talked about for a long time, but now they actually moved. And you see videos on Wall Star and all these alternative media news outlets that they show people actually of Ukraine getting bombed and people are dying. This is real life. And Russia's move is no small matter. Russia is a superpower. And anytime they speak is volumes, okay? Okay, so verse 7, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been speaking for years, all right? Because none of the prophecies happen overnight. It's a gradual shift. It's a gradual lead up, like what the scriptures compare prophecies of the Lord's return to a woman in labor and a woman that's about to give birth. I mean, she doesn't give birth overnight. It's a process of time. And through the process, you could tell the signs that the baby's getting close, all right? The baby's getting close to being delivered, meaning, you know, the woman might have a bigger belly. Okay, slowly, you know, it doesn't happen overnight, but over time, her belly just keep growing and growing. She starts to feel more pain, contractions. The contraction gets more frequent and more painful the closer it is to the baby being delivered. And that's exactly what's happening now in this world is the closer we are to the end is the more frequent prophecies jump off. Okay? More frequent more frequent prophecies jump off, the more painful prophecy is, okay? The more worse the judgment is, okay? Up until the Lord's return. Right, verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. Right now we're in a time to hate. Because what's going on in the world is not a time of love, man. People are being deceived. And this reminds me of the time of Noah, when Noah entered in the ark. People were eating and drinking, marrying and giving unto marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And people was caught with their pants down because they didn't believe that what Noah was saying was true. But they got caught out there because, sure, Noah prophesied, I forget how many years. I believe it was 100 or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Noah prophesied for a very, very long time. Very long time before he entered the ark because he had to build the boat. But in his time of prophesying it, everybody thought he was crazy until the day that it rained. And he was in that ark. You see? Just so it's going to be in our time. And it says, read Ecclesiastes 3:8 one more time. A time to love and a time to hate. Oh, no. I read verse 7 again. You know what? Verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. All right? And this is exactly the scripture I wanted. A time of war. This is the time we're in. We're in a time of war. World War III. And it's going to become a reality very soon. Matter of fact, we're in World War III now. And people are going to get caught with their pants down. You see? So I'm going to cut this video off and get a part 2. Shalom.